Did you give them my details?
Because you've given me your details.
Right, that's against the law. It's a breach of my personal data. You should not have done that. You have not. You should not have done that.
Hands over the coins as tender.
Yeah.
Obviously, it is legal tender. You are correct.
Yeah.
But as Sainsbury's, we aren't obliged to take that because we are unable to bank that here. So unfortunately, we will have to ask for some other means of payment to purchase that fuel.
What do you think legal tender actually means?
Pardon?
What do you think legal tender means?
I'm not into a debate about that. We're not accepting that as a tender here. It's a private company.
So you accept it as legal tender?
Yeah, but we can't bank that here. We don't have the means to bank it, so we don't accept it.
That's not my problem if you can't bank it, is it?
Well, yeah, but we don't accept it.
Well, you already have.
No, we haven't. You just put it down.
No, I gave it to the lady and she put it in her hand.
So, have you got any other means of payment?
That is my means of payment.
So, have you not got any other means?
But that is my means of payment.
Well, and we can't accept that means.
When Sainsbury's worker physically took the coins into her hand, payment was made. At that instant, the debt was discharged. Yes, stores can refuse certain coins, but only before a transaction begins. That's not what happened here. The fuel was already in the car. The goods were already consumed. That created a debt. And once a debt exists, legal tender must be accepted. You cannot accept lawful payment, then later pretend it doesn't count just because it's inconvenient to process. That's where this entire situation first went wrong.
Lawful.
Have you got another means of payment, or do we just need to process it as a civil recovery issue?
Well, I've paid.
Well, we haven't accepted it.
You don't need to. Well, you have accepted it. Well, I haven't got the money, have I? You've got the money.
Well, we can give it back to you.
Well, I don't want it back. Are you a police officer?
Yes.
Right, can you identify yourself, please? What number are you?
1866, Bridgewater Police Station.
Mrs. Bradshaw, Miss Bradshaw.
That's correct. Miss.
Hi, Miss.
Hi.
Hi.
So they've asked for another form of payment because
Yeah.
they can't accept this form. Have you got another form of payment on you?
That is my payment.
Right, okay, but that's not tender that they can accept.
Yes, it is.
They're asking for another form
Yes,
of
it
payment.
is. Let me explain something to you. So when you was training to be a police officer at the beginning, yeah, you swore an oath, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember what the first sentence of the oath was? It was to serve the Queen faithfully.
Correct.
Right. Now those coins are legal tender by royal proclamation of the Queen herself.
Okay.
Right. She's authorised within the legislation for the Royal Mint to create those coins, and when she proclaimed them to be legal tender, she said that they are legal tender for payment throughout the United Kingdom.
When police arrived, the officer didn't assess the law. She simply repeated what Sainsbury's staff told her, as if store policy outranked statute. But Brett cut straight through that. He reminded her of the oath she swore, to serve the crown faithfully and uphold the law. These coins weren't just loose change. They were declared legal tender by royal proclamation under the Coinage Act 1971, Section 2. That authority comes from the Crown via the Royal Mint, the very authority she swore to serve. This wasn't opinion, it was statute.
And he was.
They've allowed me to take goods, and then pay after the event. When the fuel goes into my vehicle, it becomes my fuel, but then it becomes a debt. Okay, now, the whole point of legal tender is that you can use it to pay a debt. As the Queen said, it's for payment throughout the United Kingdom. So they don't have to accept it, and if they was to give it back to me, it would negate the debt. Okay, it's not a police matter, it's a civil dispute. So really, you know, I mean, really, you should be telling them that it's a civil dispute.
I've just spoken to them and said about the document whereby you can come back and pay within 24 hours. They're saying that they don't want to accept the tender that you've given them. Is there an alternative method?
I'm not going to pay in any other way. I've already paid. Okay, and regarding that document, it's called a no means to pay document, isn't it? Right, I'm not filling out a no means to pay document when I have got the means to pay and I've paid. It's almost like an acceptance that I haven't got the means to pay when I have.
The officer then tried pushing a no means to pay document, but that form exists for one reason only: when someone genuinely has no way to pay. Forgotten wallet, card failure, no money at all. You fill it in, admit the debt, and agree to return later. But Brett did have means to pay. He had legal tender in his hand. That alone removes this situation entirely from the no means to pay category. Trying to force that form wasn't procedure, it was rewriting reality.
May I take your name, please?
No. Oh, yes you will, because I'm driving.
Sorry?
Yes you can, because I'm driving. Sorry. There you go. Although technically parked up on private land. I'll be going soon, as soon as I've finished dealing with it.
Is that the money?
No, I don't want that. If you give it back, then it goes to debt. Did you see that, officer? Officer?
Yes,
I've paid and she's thrown the money back in.
They've asked for another form of
No,
payment.
she's thrown the money back in.
Okay.
Do you understand? Can you explain to them that that negates the debt? You can't pay someone and then they just throw the money back at you.
Do paperwork.
Do you want to remind them of that?
Yeah, so that's the details of the transactions there, okay?
Ma'am, can you show it to me? I paid it though.
Yeah, but it's unacceptable tender.
Officer, did you witness them give me the coins back, didn't you? And when I have paid, yeah?
I've witnessed them give you the coins back. I've also witnessed them say that it's unacceptable tender. They're not willing to accept it. Therefore, they've asked for another form of payment. You haven't provided it, so that's hence why they're giving you the form.
Well, I don't want that.
When the officer asked Brett his name while he was seated behind the wheel, he had no legal choice but to comply. Under the Road Traffic Act 1988, a driver must provide name and address when requested by a constable in uniform. That duty applies regardless of context. But what happened next raises serious questions. Moments later, a Sainsbury's worker returns with a no means to pay form already filled out with Brett's details. Details he never consented to give them. Details he never agreed to use for that purpose.
Can you give these coins back to her, or can you keep them as evidence?
I'm not giving the coins back.
Well, you do realise it negates the debt anyway.
They haven't accepted
Well, I don't want that either, and that's nothing to do with me. I would like a receipt though, please.
You've been
I'll
served
copy
with
of your
it.
receipts. The transactions still outstanding, I'm afraid.
Do they have to give me a receipt for VAT purposes?
You haven't paid for
I
it
have
because they
paid.
haven't accepted the tender.
I have paid. They had it in their hand. They threw it back in the car.
Okay, but they
you
haven't
witnessed they
accepted,
threw it
they
back
haven't
in.
accepted the tender, so therefore there isn't a
So
payment.
it's for, as I said to you earlier, the Queen said that
I
these.
understand what you're saying,
Yeah.
and you've obviously done your research.
Yeah.
What they're saying is it's not acceptable form of tender. They're not accepting it, therefore the debt hasn't been paid.
But you're an
hence
officer of the
why-
law, aren't you? You're a sergeant or just a PC?
PC. Hence
Yeah.
why they've given you this, because they want you to pay in another acceptable form of tender.
So what do you think? If they said that they didn't want to accept a £50 note and threw the £50 notes back in, yeah, and then gave me that, would you think that's reasonable?
Well, you
Or £20
have to offer
notes.
another form of payment.
Brett immediately spots the problem. How did you get my details? The officer admits she gave them to the store. That admission is explosive. Those details were obtained under road traffic powers, which are strictly limited to road traffic matters. Passing them to a private supermarket in what is purely a civil dispute is completely unlawful. That is a clear breach of data protection and GDPR. Police have a duty to safeguard personal data, not hand it to corporations for convenience. This wasn't a mistake, it was misuse of power.
So say I had 50s and £20 notes, okay, and I went in there to pay them, and they said, "Oh, sorry, we don't accept those," right? Yeah, but even though this is theoretical, yeah, we don't accept those, and I say, "Well, I've paid, and I've left the money on the counter," and they came and threw them back in the car. Would you still be saying that it's up to me to pay in some other way?
But they just said that's an acceptable form of tender.
Yeah, but it's not down to them as to whether it's acceptable or not. It's down to the state.
They don't seem that acceptable.
It's down to the state. It's not for them to
right.
choose.
Well, they've served you with this. They haven't accepted payment.
I don't want that. That's nothing to do with me.
Right, okay, well, you've seen it. She's showing you it.
Yep.
Okay?
I don't know what it is. I don't even know what it is. What is it?
It's
I haven't
because
signed it. What is it? No means to pay form or something like that. How did they get my details? Did you give them my details?
Because you've given me your details.
Right, that's against the law. It's a breach of my personal data. You should not have
You
done
haven't
that.
paid.
You have not. You should not
haven't
have done
paid.
that.
You haven't paid.
You know that. You should not have done that.
You haven't paid.
Instead of addressing the breach, the officer repeated the same line, "You haven't paid." But Brett dismantled that logic with one example. If someone offers a £50 note, the store throws it back, then demands a no means to pay form. Would anyone call that fair? Of course not. Once legal tender is offered, the debt is settled. Refusing it is the store's failure, not the customer's. By siding with preference over law, the officer turned a civil matter into a criminalized dispute.
You've given them. I'll be lodging a complaint about this.
Okay,
You know
are
you're
you
going to be in
accepting-
trouble for
are
that,
you
don't you?
accepting the details?
No.
You're not.
You know that you're going to be in trouble for that, don't you? Because you're not allowed to give them my personal details. Breach of my data. Police giving private corporation my details. They threw the money back in the car. We'll be lodging a complaint with 101, I think, straight away.
In Brett's aftermath, the fallout is staggering. Police claimed the officer did nothing wrong, yet her own inspector later admitted she would need retraining. That's a quiet admission of fault wrapped in bureaucracy. While Brett's lawyer confirmed he had a case, it wasn't worth pursuing financially, but the real impact was public. This incident exposed how easily police powers can be bent to serve corporate convenience. Brett stayed calm, precise, and informed, and educated thousands. The lesson is clear. Know your rights, stand your ground, and never let a badge or a logo convince you that the law bends to their convenience.